What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. I have an amazing episode for you today, and I'm doing something that I have never, ever done on YouTube before, which is posting one of my podcast episodes here on YouTube. Now, I don't think I'm ever going to do this again either. I might be wrong, who knows? But the reason I'm posting this here on YouTube is because this conversation, this podcast episode, was so good, and it's about a topic that so many people struggle with. It's about maintaining your weight, transferring into weight maintenance, going into a diet break, whatever you want to call it. This is a topic that many people struggle with and they don't know what to do. Oftentimes people know how to lose weight, but they don't know how to maintain it. And as I'm doing my mini cut right now, which I spoke about in my last video here on YouTube, so many people have been asking me, well, how do I maintain that weight loss? So in this video, I speak with Inner Circle member Brianne, and we talk all about going into a diet break, going into a maintenance phase. She has lost 30 pounds or so in a very slow, steady, and sustainable way. But now she's just getting a little bit burnt out and she's not sure what to do. So I walk her through that whole process, and we talk about a whole lot of other things as well. It's a really amazing conversation. Brianne is incredible. Please give Brianne some love in the comments section. You'll hear at the end of the conversation, I ask her if it's okay for me to post this on YouTube. And rightfully, I think some people are nervous about putting themselves out there. So show Brianne some love, be really kind, listen to the whole conversation because I think you're going to like it a lot. And at the very end, she actually tells a really crazy story about one of the times when she was working in the ER, what someone did. And it's actually a really crazy story. So I'm not going to spoil it, but watch the whole video. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you don't already, and since I'm not going to post more podcasts here on YouTube unless they really are a amazing conversation, go subscribe to my podcast, the Jordan Syatt Mini Podcast. I will put the link in the show notes or in the description of this video. Podcast is dominating. It's doing really, really well. And if you watch me here on YouTube and you like the videos, you're going to love the podcast. All right, I'm going to stop rambling. Let's get into the episode. I'll talk to you soon.
How are you?
Go. I'm good. Brianne, we are recording, just so you know, we're live. It's great for me to be able to see you and to talk to you. This is wonderful. I'm really excited. How are you doing?
I'm good. Doing good. Just getting settled in from a day of work, staying busy.
Talk to me. What do you do for work?
So I am a nurse practitioner and
Okay.
I work with pediatrics. So see well child checks, newborns, all the way up to 18 years old. So I was an
That's
ER
awesome.
nurse for right at 10 years, I think it was. And then just in the last couple of years, did I go back to school and get my nurse practitioner. So it's fun.
That's amazing. Wow. ER nurse for 10 years, then you went back to school.
I was. Yep.
That must have been pretty crazy, huh?
Yes, it was a challenge, not just for me, but my husband too, because we have two kids.
Okay.
So I worked full time in the ER and then went back to school and got my nurse practitioner degree, which is about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And man, it was intense for a while, but we survived and it's paid off.
Was working in the ER, was it scary? I'm sure you saw some really crazy things, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you get some scary stuff. We lived in Austin, Texas for a while.
Okay.
We're in New Mexico now.
Okay.
And but man, downtown Austin, you'll get some pretty cool, well, I think it's cool stuff that runs through the door, but you got to be a special person to work in an ER, that's for sure. It takes a special kind of mentality and personality, but
It's so funny, like how I feel like just by that phrasing, we see some pretty cool things. It's like you're the right person for the job. Because for me, one of my best friends from the time I was 2 or 3, his name is Tucker. Like we started doing gymnastics together when we were like 3 years old, and he works in the ER now. And some of the stuff he tells me, I'm just like, oh my God. Like I couldn't imagine that becoming normal for me. It's crazy.
yeah. Oh, the stories that we could tell. I'll save you the details, but yeah.
I
It's
might
fun.
at the end of the call, I might ask for like one of your craziest stories, just like to end the call with that, because I love those types of stories. But we'll see. We'll see how the call goes, and if you're willing to share, I would love that.
Okay.
So
Sounds good.
so I know we spoke on Instagram, but people listening don't know we spoke on Instagram. So could you just give me a refresher of what we spoke about and why we're talking now.
Absolutely. So, I have, well, just to throw out some cool stuff towards you, I have followed you for about 2.5 to 3 years on social media.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it took me probably about a year of consistently reading and following your stuff to finally like start drinking the Kool-Aid, And so about about a year and a half ago, my husband and I really started working on our fitness, weight loss, and kind of getting on board with things. And so, long story short, in the last about a year or so, I'd say I've lost about 30 pounds.
Wow, congrats. That's
Awesome,
amazing.
right? Like super excited. It's been great. And but I've kind of hit a point where I don't want to say I'm tired of dieting. And at this point, I really don't even see it much as a diet anymore. It's a lot of just lifestyle changes that we've made. But I'm kind of tired of thinking about it, right? Like
Mm,
thinking about what am I eating? What's the plan? How is it going to play out? And what is the consequence of this food, right? Like, am I
yeah.
hitting my protein? Am I hitting my fiber? All of these things, which are great mentalities to have, but kind of feeling myself like I need a break.
Yeah.
Um, and just this past summer, we went on a cruise, and so of course, right before you go on a cruise, you got to really buckle down, right? And so I did my own little mini cut, my husband and I did, and coming back from it, I just have struggled to kind of get back into lifestyle mentality and just getting back into it, I guess. And so I felt myself feeling like I needed a diet break. But it makes me nervous because I don't trust myself in that process, right? Like I've built these habits over the last year and a half, and I hear you. I know what you have to say. I know your mentality and your theories and how to do it. But it makes me nervous to give myself any kind of leeway
Mhm.
to not think about it because historically I'm a yo-yo dieter to the end, and I would drop 20 pounds just to turn around and gain it back when
Mm.
I decided to be like, oh, I'm good. I lost my weight. And so I'm terrified of ending up back at that point. And so, how do you take a diet break without overdoing it? And when do you know when to, okay, it's time to jump back into this? And when do you know when it's time to get serious again, or when, hey, I've let go of things too much?
Makes total sense. Makes
Hmm.
100% sense. Now, I'm actually going to ask you to walk me through your history, like, and
Sure.
sort of how we arrived here, right? Because I think it helps me better understand you as a dieter and your personality if I know a little bit more about like your personal history with this stuff. So I know you said historically you would yo-yo diet, lose it, gain it, lose it, gain it. Could you just walk me through a little bit about like what you've went through, what ended up causing you to get to a point when you're like, all right, like now I'm gonna drink this random guy's Kool-Aid, and then cool. So then you did it, lost 30 pounds, and then from there we'll talk about how do we actually make this shift into a diet break. We can talk all about doing that, but I just want to get a better picture of what it's been like for you previously. So could you just walk me through that?
Yeah, absolutely. um, so I'm, I guess all in all, what you consider, I'm a pretty athletic, physical person. I've been fit the majority of my life. My husband and I did CrossFit for years. He was a CrossFit coach. And so, I mean, I'm not a marathon runner by any means. I'm more of a powerlifting kind of girl. But I've never really been overweight
Mm-hmm.
significantly. And so going through school, we lived in Austin, life got a little tough, and I gained about 50 pounds more than what I had ever been. And a lot of I think that was when the worst of my diet was of gaining and losing. I would super calorie restrict, 1,000 to 1,200 calories, and then I'd get sick of it, throw in the towel, gain it all back. We tried to get back into CrossFit for a while and lost some weight with that, of course, with some adjustments to my diet, but not much. But it was a lot of calorie restriction, starving all the time, hangry all the time. And then bouncing back and being like, okay, I lost 10 pounds. Cool. I can eat, loosen up a little bit on my calories. And the next thing I turn around, I've gained all 10 pounds back plus another 5.
Got it.
And so I was very much I'm a all in or all out kind of person. I have a hard time finding that middle ground. And so it wasn't up until, following you, kind of realizing like, you know what, I don't have to eliminate foods. I can still eat a donut and still be okay. Like it's not an all extreme or nothing. It's not I have to be miserable to be the weight that I want to be at. And my husband kind of started that process. And again, I'm naturally a very competitive person. So if he's going to lose weight, I got to do better, right? And he's a very even kill kind of dude. Very much. He's like, I've been telling you what this guy has been telling you for like the last 15 years of our marriage. So why you're taking it from him and not from me, but that's a different story, right? But so a lot of the same stuff, just even kill, slow and steady, half a pound a week here, 2 pounds in a couple of weeks down the road, was coming off the scale, and he lost 50 pounds.
Wow.
And it took him about a year to do it. And I looking at him and I'm like, all right. I'm like, okay, I guess slow and steady really does work. And so I kind of started with the process of when I really started, so back up about a year from today, a year ago, I started with, I'm just going to go to the gym because I like to go to the gym.
Love that.
Not because I heard if I do, incline of 12, 30 minutes and a pace of 3.0 that I'll burn fat and I'll lose weight and I'll
That's a
down 30
huge
pounds in a
thing
month.
right now, the 12,
Right?
30 thing. Oh my God, I hear that everywhere.
Yes. Not for me, by the way. Tried it. Wouldn't recommend it. But, and so I just started with getting into the gym because I'm just naturally athletic and I enjoy movement. I enjoy doing things and figuring out that I could go to the gym because I like it, not because I have something to accomplish. And it kind of just slowly progressed. Okay, now I'm going to start replacing all my sodas with water. And I'll sprinkle one in there every once in a while if I want it. But, I'm okay with that change. And kind of slowly, progressively, slowly made a change on top of a change on top of a change. And I'm like, okay, I lost a pound this week. Cool. And then turn around. Oh, okay. We're consistently showing some dips, and Jordan said it's okay that it's going to go up, so it's going to go up. I'm not going to freak out, right? Like, and just sticking with what felt good and what I could tolerate. And so that's kind of how it progressed over the last year. And honestly, this sounds so different from what I've ever been historically, but I turned around in June and somebody had asked me how much weight I had lost. And I was like, well, probably like 10 pounds. I've been tracking it the whole time, mind you. And they're like, really? You look like you've lost more. And I said, well, in about the last 2 months, I've only lost about 10 pounds or so, maybe, probably less than that, if I'm being honest. And they're like, wow, you just seem like you've lost so much more weight than that. So I was like, well, let me look into my Inner Circle app. And I went back to the whole year and I was like, what? But it's been so slow and it's been so up and down and up and down that I just got so tired of adding. Okay, I've lost 21 pounds. Oh, now I lost 19 pounds. And then, back up. Oh, I lost 20. Nope, we're 18. That I eventually just stopped doing that and just kind of let it happen. And I wasn't counting. Oh, I lost 0.3 today. And so, long story short, it sounds funny to say I turned around and lost 30 pounds because I worked my butt off for it.
Yep.
But I just got so sick of being so micromanaging of the scale that I just let it happen in some ways.
That's incredible.
And so, like I said, come June or July, we went on a cruise. And so, of course, my husband and I were like, 6-pack abs. We're going to, drop those last little bit or whatever it was. we did not get 6-pack abs in our last 4 weeks before the cruise, but we got really serious, really buckled down, kind of burned myself out. I know, I can already hear you telling me crash diets don't work. I hear it, but we did it and we felt great going into the cruise, but coming home, I'm like, I'm burned out, right? Like I can get back in the gym, I'm okay with it, but I'm a little like, okay, how do I find this middle ground again of not overly restricting? I still have about 15 pounds that I would like to get back down on, 15 to 20. I'm not desperate for it, but I need to continually make that progress nice and slow. But I'm just,
Burnt out. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so
burned
now
out
you
a
want to
little
go on
bit.
a diet break.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming during the diet break, just relax. Like take your mind off of dieting, take your mind off of trying to lose weight, and then eventually, if you still want to, then go back into it with a more fresh, less burned out, or like reinvigorated mindset.
Exactly. Yeah. And doing all of that without losing or going backwards or picking up those bad habits that I carried for however long I carried them.
Yeah.
I just don't trust myself, I think is what a lot of it boils down to.
Yeah, it makes sense. So first and foremost, thank you for sharing all of that. That helps a lot and it paints a really good picture. Second, huge congrats on your progress because it's fucking incredible. And I do not say that lightly. It's like truly remarkable what you've been able to do for you and your husband. So congrats to him as well. In terms of what you were saying, I want to make it really clear. I'm unbelievably impressed with so much of the nuance that you picked up throughout your process so far, so much of the lessons that you learned, even like when you said you know, I'm going to go to the gym just because I love it. Like that's the best. That's amazing, right? Where it's like I'm not like it's not necessarily about going here for accomplishing something in particular. There's nothing wrong with that if that is the goal, but it's like I'm just going to do this because I like it, which is that's the best.
Yeah.
And then also to get to a point where you track the numbers, but you don't live and die by the numbers. Like you've been tracking in the app, you've been tracking your weight, but for example, like my weight went up by 1.8 pounds today. Like I had a weight spike or 1.4, whatever the fuck it was. I don't know. Weight went up. It's like a lot of people would do that thing that you said where it's like, oh, well, now I've technically only lost this amount because that whatever they weigh that day that's the number that they're going by. And so for you to be like, you know what, like whatever, like I'm going to track the weights, but I'm just tired of living and dying by that number. So much of what you've done is, I think, such an advanced form of dieting, an advanced mindset that what you have is what most people strive for. And I want you to know that because the things that you sort of just nonchalantly said, in my mind, as you were talking, I was like, I really hope people are understanding the level with which like you're speaking, the lessons that you're discussing, which is why I wanted to repeat it a little bit now, because these things are, you just said, it just came off your tongue like it was no big deal. It's a huge deal to have all of these lessons and understandings and to not let the numbers bother you and to just sort of move on and go on with your life and do the things you love that you enjoy. Like this is it. That's amazing. And it sounds like those last 4 weeks before the cruise just burned you the fuck out. You're like, you were so strict and so rigid, which is fine. It's I don't think it's a bad thing that you tried it because now you know it's like, all right, well, that's definitely not something I want to make a habit out of doing because you can't sustain it and it just burns you out long term. So there's nothing wrong with trying it. I think the best thing anyone can do when they're trying to figure out what works best for them is trial and error. Try it. It's like why I don't tell people don't do keto. It's like if you want to try keto, go for it, but good fucking luck. Like you're probably not going to like it. So, but give it a shot if you want to see if it's a good idea. Now let's get down to brass tacks. Diet breaks. Okay. I think it's the first time in my life I've ever used that phrase. Let's get down to brass tacks. I don't even know why it came to my mind, but I was like, I'm going to say that. It's going to sound cool.
We're going to roll with it.
So
don't even know what it means, but I hear what you're saying.
I don't know what it means either. I sort of want to Google it. I'm going to Google it before we're done. I look at diet breaks. There are two different types of diet breaks. Okay. There are two different ones. And The one that I think is going to be best for you and the one that you're talking about is the second kind. I'll introduce the first kind, which actually I did the other day. The first type of diet break is a very brief 1 or 2 day thing where it's like you're in the middle of a dieting phase. And like, for example, I had been 100% consistent for 10 days straight. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to have a day where I deliberately go over my calories. I'm like not going to count. Like I'm not, some people would call this a cheat day. Some people would call this a refeed. This for me is just it's a break. I'm taking a break. Like I don't want to use like, it's not a cheat day. I'm not doing anything wrong. I hate the word refeed just because it sounds obnoxious. It's like I'm fucking eating food. I'm just going to take a break from my diet. That's all it is. People are like, yeah, we're doing a refeed. It's like, oh, so you're eating more? Cool.
Right.
So that is a short-term diet break where I was like, cool, I'm just going to take the day off, basically, because I've been 100% consistent. And I wasn't feeling overly hungry. I wasn't feeling stressed. I wasn't feeling like I was missing anything. But at 10 days of 100% consistency, I was like, I'd rather do it now than wait until I do start to feel hungry or wait until I do start to crave stuff. I was like, I'm going to get ahead of it, have a day, just enjoy, and then I'm reinvigorated the next day.
Yeah.
So that's one kind. The other kind, which is what I think you're referring to and I think might be a better choice for you, is a little bit of a longer time frame. Now, how long is ambiguous? It really depends on you and what you want and you need. It could be a week, it could be 6 months. Like it literally could start out as a break that you think is going to be a month, and then it's just like, you know what, fuck it, like I'm really happy here and I don't want to change anything. So the amount of time, there's no definitive time here. It's 100% up to you. The thing that I want to make clear here is when we go into a longer term break, essentially this is like a maintenance break is what it is, like a diet break. This is a maintenance break because when you go into this longer term diet break, you don't want to gain your weight back, right? So you want to stay in this range. So the important thing here is I always want people to understand the first time you do anything in life, you're going to make mistakes. Anything. Like the first time you do, I would imagine the first time you went into the ER, there were probably mistakes that you made, right? The first time, I don't know, like literally anything, any skill, you always make mistakes. The cool part about this situation though, no matter what happens, you always know how to lose weight.
It's true.
And this is, I know you had said you were like a little bit scared, like felt fearful about doing this because like you don't want to go back to what you were before. There's no way you can ever go back to what you were before because you have the knowledge that you have now. Like the person you are now has so much more knowledge and understanding of this process. So that's why I can like hang out and gain 5-10 pounds and I don't give a shit because I know if I ever want to lose weight, I know exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
And it's really not that crazy difficult, right? Where it's like, one of the reasons I don't care about having a six pack is because it's like, well, I know if I want to, like, I know exactly what I need to do. It's like, so if I want to have it, cool, but it's just not fucking worth it. So I want to eliminate the fear, or if I can't eliminate it, at least dull it as much as possible. So that, because it's important for you to understand, no matter what happens, you can always lose weight again. I remember when I was younger and just getting into the industry, and I truly like I was seeing people like there was this one guy in particular, Martin Birkin, he had these amazing client success stories, and I was like, how does this guy has figured out fat loss? Like this guy figured it out, and I hadn't figured it out yet. I was still trying to find everything and learn all the new things. But once I figured it out, it's not scary anymore. It's like, cool, I know exactly what to do. I know what
you're empowered, right?
Yes.
Like you have that control. No, I understand what you're saying.
And it helps remove the fear because one of the issues is if you're scared of going to taking a diet break because you don't want to mess up and then gain the weight back, it's like, well, number one, I guarantee you're not going to gain all your weight back. Like you're not. But even if you gain 10 pounds, that's not a failure and you know how to lose it.
Yeah.
And what if over the course of let's say you take a diet break for, I don't know, 6 months and you gain 10 pounds back, but you really enjoy those 6 months. You have some amazing memories. You have your favorite foods, whatever it is you do. And it's like, you know what? All right, cool. My jeans are a little bit tight. Now I'm going to rein it in for the next 8 weeks and lose these 10 pounds. That sounds like a pretty fucking good life right there. It's like
Yeah.
that for me is the quintessence of maintenance, where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna lose the weight that I want to lose. I'm gonna then enjoy myself. I'm not gonna go crazy overboard, but like maybe I'll slowly gain a little bit. Boom, then I rein it back in, get it back in check. So I spend like 6 to 12 months just relaxing and enjoying and being healthy, and then what? 4 to 8 weeks of being in a slight calorie deficit, like that's nothing. It's so easy. And this is where like very few people I can count on one hand how many people I know who when they go into maintenance, they literally stay within like a 1 to 2 pound range. Like, and those people are usually not living a great life. Like they're not like they're so strict with their nutrition. They're so rigid. It's like, yeah, great. You're maintaining that range, but at what cost? So
Right.
that's my thought. When we're going into this diet break, I don't want you to be fearful of regaining the weight, because you're not going to regain all of it, I promise you. And you might not even regain 10 pounds. But if you do, who cares?
Yeah.
Right?
You're so right. You're so right. And that's what I'm like, you know, it's just I'm in control of it, right? And I think that before, and I think I forgot to mention this earlier, I had even tried like prescription medication to lose weight, which I'm like, oh, now I even hate even saying it, but I was desperate, and I just needed something to fix it. But as soon as I stopped thinking about it, as soon as I stopped trying, as soon as I had a cheat day, one turned into two, and it felt like I just turned around, and not only did I gain everything back, but it plus some. And I'm like, well, how am I going to lose it again? The idea of doing the things that I had done to lose that weight was overwhelming. Like, I can't drop down to 1,200 calories again. That was miserable. And so I'm never going to get those 10 pounds lost again. And so that mentality, even though it's a couple years old, is, it still sings in the background as I hear you.
Yes.
Right. But reminding myself, like, you know what? I already did it once. I can do this again. Like, I am in control of that. And you're right.
And
You're right.
it wasn't the 4 weeks pre-cruise that caused all of that weight loss. It was the slow and steady and sustainable and enjoyable over that time frame that like you could literally how many calories were you eating over that time frame on a daily basis?
Over the 3 to 4 weeks?
No, not the 3 to 4 weeks, over like the longer term.
Probably like 18 to 2,000.
1,800, 2,000. Yeah. Like is that relatively sustainable for you? It's pretty simple.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now for my mini cut, like 1,800 to 2,000 or so. That's not bad. Like you can still enjoy. Like I'm still drinking like on a very regular basis. Like enjoying snacks on a regular basis. We just had a big holiday. It was a big Jewish holiday. Like I was able to enjoy this amazing noodle kugel dessert dish that my mom makes. 1,800 to 2,000 is not bad at all. So worst comes to worst, all you do is go back to that whenever you want.
Yeah.
That's
You're
literally
so
it.
right. Yeah.
So with that in mind, the next important question is, do you want to keep tracking calories during your diet break or not? And there's no definitive right or wrong answer here, but this is an important question because if for some people counting their calories is very easy and it's enjoyable, for other people they fucking hate it. And like that's the thing that they want the break from. So where do you fall on that spectrum?
I mean, I think I fall more towards I'm done with counting calories. Not done with. I need a break from counting the calories. For my husband, it comes easy. He's like, he can sit there at dinner and not have thought about it all day, backtrack to what he has had and tell me almost down to 100 to 150 calories what he's had for the day.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. It's not fair. I'm like, whatever. And for me, if I don't log and measure every single thing that I eat, or if I don't pre-make my little meals. I historically, and it's been a while since I've let myself not do all of that, overserved myself,
Mhm.
or that doesn't count. I just snacked on that. And that's where my calories would always seem to bite me in the butt, is my
Mm.
meals would be fine, but I'm a snacker, I'm a grazer. And, a tablespoon or 5 of peanut butter wasn't really going to count, right? Like, you know what I mean? Those kind of things. And so, but to go back to your question, it's the tracking. I'm tired. Like, I don't want to open my calorie tracker apps. Don't want to worry about all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to keep myself in check without measuring everything, without counting up my calories at the end of the day.
Makes total sense. Thank you for being honest. That makes total sense. This is going to make this much easier. So one of the issues that people have, that one of the reasons they yo-yo diet is like they'll do the 1200 and then they'll lose all the weight and then they gain it all back, is when they're dieting, they are eating completely different foods than when they're not dieting, right? So it's like they will change all of their foods, they'll change all their portion sizes, they will starve themselves when they're trying to lose weight. And then once they get to the weight that they want to be at, or once they're fed up enough that they can't do it anymore, then they just start eating like shit and eating way too much. And so it's one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that's important to consider regarding a diet break or a maintenance phase, whatever we want to call it, I think it's just an extension of the weight loss phase. The only difference is the difference is like you aren't all of a sudden going to eat all these different types of foods. It's not like, okay, well, when we lose weight, we only eat vegetables, and when we're not losing weight, we have chicken wings and fries and Pop Tarts and pizza. Like
Right.
that's when people fail. People have
Mm-hmm.
been asking me, what am I doing differently on this mini cut? The only difference is I've reduced my portion sizes. That is it. So when I decide to stop being a mini cut, I will eat the same fucking foods in slightly larger portions. I will also probably have a few more meals a week where it's like, you know what, I'll get pizza with my wife. I'll order in pizza and that's fine. And maybe I would have made my own meal that night instead. So I have a few extra meals where I'll have more calories and all of that. But 90% of the foods I eat are the same, just bigger portions. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really, I want you to think of this diet break as simply an extension of what you're already doing, just eating more of those foods. So if you have, do you have a sort of a cyclical aspect of like, all right, so I usually have some of like one of these meals for breakfast and one of these meals for lunch, and then maybe dinner is the variable?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes.
So literally do the exact same thing. When you go into this diet break, I don't want the breakfast or lunch to change.
Okay.
I want you to stick to the same things. Like whether I'm losing weight or maintaining weight, I'm basically eating the same breakfast and lunch almost every single day. It's like either like oatmeal with frozen
Mm-hmm.
fruits and my like basil seeds or Greek yogurt. Like it's basically the same thing almost every
Mm-hmm.
single day. This is such an overlooked aspect of being able to maintain a healthy weight long term, is you probably eat more or less the same things on a very consistent basis. So, and it's a huge advantage because you don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah.
You choose something you enjoy. It doesn't mean you suffer through it. I enjoy this breakfast. I enjoy my lunch, but it's basically the same things every day. And then that gives me that when I finally have the time to sit down with my wife and I can just enjoy a great meal, then cool, let's order pizza. I don't give a fuck. Like I know generally about how much I've eaten today. So I can, yeah, let's get the pizza. Let's have this, whatever. Oh, you cooked this? I don't care. I'm not going to count the calories in this meal. Like I'm glad you used butter. I'm glad you whatever it is. Like I don't care. I'm going to have a portion and it's great. So the easiest way to transition is to keep the meals relatively the same, eat slightly bigger portions, and then give yourself a little bit of extra freedom. That's if you were counting calories, it would be a different story because we could be more precise. But I'm like you in that I don't want to be fucking counting calories unless like I need to.
Yeah.
And because now I feel so confident in knowing if I ever want to lose 10 pounds, I know exactly what to do. Cool, fine. I'm totally fine with this. So does that give you a little bit more confidence and does that make sense from what I've said thus far?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it just, while you were talking about it, I think I haven't put credence or given credit to how much our diet as a family has changed in
Mm.
the last year and a half or 2 years. My husband's primarily the cook of the family, and I'm totally fine with that. But when he started his weight loss stuff, all of our dinners changed because we went from, lasagnas and enchiladas and all the good stuff, right? To a Salisbury steak smothered in gravy.
Yeah, yeah.
And we didn't go a meal without mashed potatoes and gravy or biscuits or whatever. Anyways, to now,
Now I'm hungry.
I think about, I know, me too. But thinking about, how much our diet has truly changed, and it's stuff that I don't even think about anymore because it's new, it's what we do now.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've put enough credit into that, because when you say it like that, I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense, right? Which is 98% of why I follow you, because I'm like, oh, duh, I should have thought of that. Like, it's so simple, right? Simple but not easy. But it's just that I didn't think about it in those terms, and our diet has changed so much. And you're so right, because I can eat the same foods, still be healthy, hit my fiber just by based off of what we're eating. I'm probably pretty close to my protein goals, and I'm not going to be crazy on my calories because we're not eating all of the same foods that we were eating before we
Yes.
made these changes. And I just,
There's no longer dieting food and non-dieting food. There's just food.
yes,
That's it.
imagine that,
Yeah.
right? Like, because that's completely opposite of what I grew up with, right?
Yeah.
It's just totally different. You are allowed these types of foods when you're on a diet, and when you're not on a diet, then that's when you eat these foods. And if you can't call yourself healthy or dieting if you're eating this, and this, right? And so
Exactly.
unwinding all of that mentality and mindset, it's just, I can hear it, but it's remembering it and applying it that is
It's difficult.
sometimes the hardest part.
Yeah.
Yes.
The mind, that's the biggest obstacle. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you've accomplished so much and you've done so well, and you've really set yourself up for a very successful diet break. Like, you've set yourself up for it. Like, you are in the best position possible. And it's also important for you to know, because you're going more towards maintenance in this diet break, you can eat more, right? So you can have more calories to maintain your current weight. It's not like drastic. It's not an extra 1,000 by any means, but probably several hundred a day. But what that means is, yes, definitely try to stick to the same foods on a regular basis. It's like 90% of the time, stick to the same foods, just bigger portions. But I don't want you to feel bad. Like, if you and your husband go out to eat, I don't know, and I want you to enjoy. Still keep portion control in mind. Like, always, like, portion control should always something that we should always be aware of, right? Like, it doesn't mean
Yeah.
we're always gonna follow it. And like, I don't know, during the some big holidays, I definitely fuck it, whatever, and like I just eat a lot, and it's fine. But like, the majority of the time, I'm very aware of portion sizes, because this is what's really important. Like, that's the most important thing. So I want you to be, yeah, you know what? Like, go get pizza. I don't know, go get Salisbury steak, whatever. Like, have that. But the majority of the time should be exactly the foods that you've eaten over the last year and a half or so, just slightly bigger portions.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense. And why can't we just put those pieces together right on our own?
Even if we could, though, I just think there's something to be said for having a conversation with someone and talking it out, right? Like, there's something to be said for, even if you knew that, which you did, I guarantee you knew it, but to have the conversation and get the reinforcement. I've realized a lot of what has helped, like, as a coach, a lot of what has helped people the most is just getting the reinforcement to know it's like, oh, okay, I'm doing it right. Okay, I am doing it right. Just to be told, no, you're doing the right things, you're taking the right steps. It's really helpful. It really is. I mean, that's really, I think, one of the reasons why people will pay for coaching, is because, like, yes, some people will pay for a coach because they don't know what to do. But after a certain point, you're going to know exactly what that coach is going to have you do. You're really paying just for, number one, the accountability, and also for the reinforcement of, okay, I know this is right just because they're telling me it is. You can't really put a price on that. Like, that's, to have the confidence in yourself to know the plan you're following is right. it gives you the confidence to stay consistent, to keep doing it. It's very helpful. So even though I guarantee you knew it, it can just be helpful to have that, like, my voice in your head being like, hey, you're doing it right. That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and just those constant reminders, like lessons that I absorbed, excuse me, that, I absorbed over time a year ago are, every once in a while will pop up and I'm like, oh, I knew that and I haven't been applying that, like I think recently, one of the first lessons I think I learned from you was like, whether you're motivated or not, you get up and you go. Like you're not always going to be motivated, right? You just got to choose to do it sometimes, which is kind of like but and I'm like, I lived off of that for 6, 7, 8 months and it was great. And then I went through a phase where I didn't have to think about it and it was fine. I just got into the habit and the routine. We went on the cruise. Apparently cruises are a bad idea for this kind of stuff. But but I went on the cruise and I came back and I'm like, oh, I just don't feel like going to the gym and struggled and missed some days that I typically wouldn't have missed. And I think you posted probably, something within that time frame that's like, I don't care whether you're motivated or not. You still, I think it was around when you had your baby. And
Yeah.
you're like, I'm still here. I'm not motivated to be here. I'm choosing to be here. And I was like, oh, how did I forget that lesson? I knew that, but it's just the reminding over and over and over, saying the same things over and over again, that you just have to have that sometimes.
That's why I post that all the time, because
Yeah.
the majority of the time I'm really not motivated. It's just a habit, and I have to do it. But every time I make that post, people are always like, I really needed to hear that right now. I really needed to hear that. Like,
Yes.
my DMs immediately just message. Like people are like, oh fuck, like I wish one time I need to screen record it where like I post it and then just have all of the messages coming in from people being
Oh
like,
my
I really need to
God.
hear that, because people would be like, oh my God, I'm not alone. Like that's every single time. I know for a fact, as soon as I put myself in the gym and say I don't want to be here but I'm here, my messages are going to go crazy every single time.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's inspiring. Well, and it's so it's not counterintuitive, but it's against nature, right? Like it's against you listening to what you want to do, and this
Yeah.
whole idea of do what makes you happy, do what
Oh,
makes you feel
don't get
good,
me started on that
right?
shit.
And I'm like, well, if I remember though, the gym does make me feel good. I
Yeah.
just got to get through the hard part of getting my ass there, right? Or getting up and doing it whether I want to or not. But I always end up wanting to be there and wishing I had done it when I don't
Yes.
go. And so
Yes.
learning that lesson. But we go to the gym at 4 a.m, which
Jeez.
I know, but I would hate to be you going at 11 o'clock at night. So I cringe as much as you do, in
I was
reverse.
thinking about that. I was thinking about that the other night, because last night I got a workout in around like midnight, and I was just like, I'm just a night owl. Like I've always been that. So for me, working out at night isn't a big deal. Obviously, I would rather not do that, but like I'm doing the late night feeding with my daughter, so I have to get it in no matter what. So whatever, not a big deal.
Hmm.
But waking up early in the morning is like, I would rather be waterboarded than fucking than do that. So all the
Yeah.
respect to you for doing that, because it's amazing. But it also goes to show like different strokes for different folks, right? It's like
Yes.
you just
Yeah.
gotta do what works best for you. I don't care what fucking time it is, just gotta do it.
Yeah. Well, if I waited till 11 o'clock at night, I have had all day to talk myself into a
Yeah.
million reasons why I shouldn't go to the gym.
Yeah.
Whereas I just wake up in the morning, all I have to do is put my feet on the ground and get up, and then I'm good. It's a really tough 45 seconds.
You know what I will say, I think the greatest benefit to working out early as opposed to late is once it's done, you don't have to think about it anymore. That's the
Yeah.
one thing where all day I still know I have to do it, which like for me, it's not a big deal. Like I'm going to do it no matter what. But I could see like for other people, like it's hanging over your head, and
Hmm.
it can be a real strain mentally and emotionally, especially if working out isn't something you enjoy. Like I love
Yeah.
working out. I really enjoy
Yeah.
it. So, and I know you like going to the gym as well, but if it's hanging over your head all day, like it can be really tough. So I do think working out in the morning does have that advantage over at night for sure.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's in and out. Hardest part of the day is done by 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then, Oh, I say that. To me, the hardest part of the day, especially through diet and on any type of weight loss journey, is making the good choices over and over and over again. The
Yes.
workout's the easy part for me. Getting out of bed's hard. The workout's easy. I
Yeah.
can go to the gym. Like if I could lose weight just through exercise alone, I would be right where I needed to be. But I have a hard time making the good choices, 8 to 10 times a day or whatever
Well,
that
I
looks like.
mean, it might be difficult, but clearly you're doing it because your progress has been extraordinary. So it's definitely, I think, making those choices is the hardest part for sure. But I hope you know, like, you're doing amazing. Like you've
Thank
done an
you.
incredible job, and I'm beyond proud of you and super impressed. And there's no question, nutrition is way harder than working out. At least like for me. And I
That's
like
true.
if if all it took to be shredded was working out an hour a day, like I would be shredded to bits. Like that's
Yes,
like no problem. No,
that's
if
fine.
yeah, if it was like, hey, it's gonna be 2 hours a day of a super hard workout, cool, done.
Mhm.
If I could just work out so hard for 2 hours and then eat whatever I wanted, that would be the best situation in the world for me. But
Yes.
eating is the most difficult, most important part. It's like it's without question the most challenging. But with time and like even something as simple, another thing that sort of just rolled off your tongue that you said very nonchalantly, it's like you've changed so much of what you're eating. And
Mhm.
so now it's your lifestyle to eat different foods on a regular basis. It's not like you can't have those other foods, but you're not having those regularly and in those quantities. Now you're having more nutrient dense, lower calorie, higher nutrient, like
Yeah,
better options for you on a regular basis, which makes this whole process way easier.
way easier. Oh my gosh, yes. Yep. Well, and like you've talked about increasing that protein, like I'm not hungry. Like I'm staying within calories, but I'm not hungry because my protein sizes are like
Yes.
I'm eating the right foods. Like
Yes.
yeah, I was trying to live off of, a salad with like nothing in it, but it was still 400 calories and I'm starving in an hour, and
Exactly.
that was a third of my calories for the day. And I'm like, well, shit, like this sucks.
That sucked.
Yes, right. Yeah, I mean, drowning it in ranch is probably never a good idea, but anyways, yeah, it's been good. And thank you. Cause again, my husband wants to take the credit, but I say a lot of it is just hearing it and hearing it over and over, and you reiterating and simplifying a lot of what culture has complicated. Like it's not a complicated process. I think you've said it before. It's a simple idea. It's not easy. It's not easy to enact and do it and make those choices every day, but it's not a complicated concept. And
Yeah.
I love that about it.
Um, Before we get off, is there any other questions or anything that I could help with?
You know what? I was thinking of one while you were talking, and now it's gone. Um, no, I don't think so. It's the one thing that of your mentality or your philosophy, however you want to say it, the things that you preach that I just haven't been able to really implement consistently is the 10,000 steps a day. Man,
Mm.
I try. And I go to the gym, I get on the treadmill, but it's a limited, like I have a time frame and I am not getting up before 4 o'clock
No,
in the
please
morning,
don't.
right? It's just not gonna happen. And so I have, time in there and I try to follow my workout schedules and routines, but I just it's a million excuses. I struggle to hit that 10K a day.
How many do you
Um,
get?
well, on a typical workout day, extra effort if we're out going for a walk or extra busy evening, and on average probably about 7,000 to 7,500
Oh,
in a day.
shoot. Can you see me or hear me? Oh, there we go.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. So you said about 7,000 to
Okay.
7,500?
Yeah, that's like my workout in the morning and then just a typical day at work and typical afternoon activities with the kids. I hit maybe 7,500 in a day.
Okay. So just so you know, 7,500 is totally fine. If you could get 7,500, that's really where we see, that's the minimum of what like the most benefit that we really see is. So
Okay.
if you could get at least 7,500 on a consistent basis, that's what I try and get people to shoot for. Um, Above 7,500, the benefits don't go down, but you don't go up very much from 7,500 to 10,000. So I don't want you to feel bad for getting 7,500. The minimum I would like people to get is 7,500, but if I have someone who's getting 2,000, then first I'll go from 2,000 to 2,500. But the eventual goal is minimum 7,500 a day. So if you could get that, that would be fantastic, and I think it would make that it's going to be much easier for you.
Okay. Yeah. And it used to not be an issue, when I worked in the ER, 14 to 15,000 steps
Yeah.
a day was average, right? I never paid attention to it. And now, I mean, if I don't work out, my office that we work in is little and I don't have room to pace on the phone, right? Like
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard you talk about that. I don't even have room for a walking treadmill at my desk. It's just
Really?
too
Okay.
small. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the rooms, from me to my patient rooms are maybe 10 steps. And it's,
Got it.
just that constant back and forth all day. And so outside of the gym, I'm lucky to, if I don't go to the gym that day, I'm lucky to get, 4 to 5,000. But great, thankfully, I go most days. And so I hit that 7,500. But man, outside of that, it can be tough. So I'm glad to hear that because
Yeah.
I was frustrated.
It is it can be very, very tough. So 7,500, if you can get that, that's definitely what I'd like you to shoot for. There are other things. So for example, I know there are these like under the desk like type elliptical type things. I don't know if you've seen those before. People ask me about them all the time. Um, if you want to use those, that's totally fine. Like it's just another way just to move your body while like if you're sitting at your desk, and it's pretty easy to put in a small space. But I mean, I know when I was living in New York City, I was getting 18 to 22,000 steps a day, no problem. Like that was
Yeah.
easy. Now living in Dallas, it's like it's much harder, much
Mm.
much harder. In fact, I mean, I'm looking at my watch right now. I only have 1,800 steps on the day. It's almost 7 p.m. So I mean, I'm
Yeah.
gonna get my workout in later, but I have to make an effort to do it. And usually it happens in like a couple, like one or two bursts. Like I do like the walking pad that I have because if I'm like in my office a lot on a given day, it's right there. But on a day like today where I haven't been in my office that much, then like you can see my steps have been super low today. I'm gonna have to get them all when I do my workout tonight. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, if you could shoot for that 7,500, that would be great. And if you wanted to get like one of those under the desk elliptical type things that you could just sort of sit on and move,
Idea.
it's you can, but you don't have to. I would say that would be much better for someone who is probably really struggling with their steps. They're nowhere near where you're at, and also maybe their joints are struggling from walking more. And it's another way to get more movement in without really stressing your joints. But for everything you're doing, I think you're great, and I would just keep doing exactly what you're doing.
Okay. Yeah, I tend to be a perfectionist, so hitting those numbers, I'm like, wow. But you're right. That's true. Okay,
Being a
cool.
perfectionist is I will rip on people when they say that they're perfectionists. I had two other podcasts today, and both of the people said they're perfectionists. It's I hate when people say that. I hate it because like we're all perfect. We all we're like we pick and choose what we're perfectionists at, right?
That's true.
It's like no
Yes.
one is a perfectionist in everything. It's like we
Yep.
pick and choose, like, well, I'm going to be a perfectionist in this. It's like, but in other things, you're like, whatever, it's good enough. It's like you being you've self-proclaimed that, and people will often say that to justify just not doing anything if they can't do anything at all. Get the
Mhm.
idea of being a perfectionist out of your fucking mind. It's like stop. I hate when people are like, oh, it's like I'm identifying as a perfectionist. It's like, listen,
Yeah.
no, no, you're not. You're not. Get it out of
Yeah.
your head. You're not a perfectionist. You're not. Just and because once you remove that mindset, then doing a little bit becomes worth it. Right? It's like the all or nothing mindset is the worst. And one of my favorite quotes is to the effect of anything worth doing is worth half-assing. Right? It's sort of the opposite of what we hear. It's like anything worth doing, you got to go all in. It's like, well, if you can't go all in, then you're just going to not do it at all. But if it's worth doing, you should do as much as you can, even on the days where you can't go all in. It's worth doing a little bit if it's worth doing it at all. Right? So like if you can't go all in, if you can't be perfect with it, which you're not the majority of the time, like do your best. Do your best on that day.
You're so right. Well, and I've allowed myself to not be perfect in everything else on this journey. Why am I holding myself to that perfectionist standard of 10,000 steps? Like, yes, I hear you. Yeah.
So before we get off, I have two questions. The first one is, do you have a crazy story from the ER that you want to share or feel comfortable sharing? If not, that's totally fine. I understand there are laws and stuff around it, so you don't have to share.
Yeah, no, I mean, trying to save you. There's some wild stories out there, some of them really sad, some of them really dumb, right? Like, I think the one that got me, one of the most like, oh, I am glad I am not in your shoes today, was I had somebody come in who reached for eye drops and grabbed nail glue.
Shut up.
Like women acrylic nail glue. And not only did she mistakenly put it in one eye,
oh my God.
Put it in both eyes, came in with her eyes and eyelashes completely nail glued shut. And I'm like, okay, like, what are we going to do with this? Right? Like, you can't soak that off, right?
You can't?
It was, no, I mean, essentially not anything that we had in the office. And I might be correct. There may be somebody out there that says you can use this or that, but we never could figure out what to use on it. And we ended up having to trim the eyelashes and slowly prying them open as much as you can without it being painful. It was a very complicated. I think she ended up going to surgery to get her eyes rinsed out and everything. It was awful. So there you go.
Wow.
There's the first one that comes to mind. Yeah.
What,
so
was
don't
her vision
ever
affected?
put your Visines next to your nail glue. This is not a good idea.
Was her vision like, was she okay eventually?
I think that, yeah, I think so. I mean, once they go out of the ER, you really don't see them again, right?
Yeah.
But I think that, if I remember right, I was asking the specialist, like, what's going to happen to this lady? Like, her eyeball's going to pop out, right? All of us are so invested in this. And I think if I remember correctly, he's like, no, we just got to get in there, clean them out. They may be really irritated for a while and need some medication, but she should be okay. So I was like, well.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Wow. Well, that's a great story. I'm glad I asked, and thank you for telling that. The other thing I wanted to ask, and it's feel free to say no. So first and foremost, I've absolutely loved this conversation, and I appreciate you immensely. So thank you for being so open, and I think it's going to help a lot of people. My question is, I know at the beginning I told you that people wouldn't see us; they would only hear us. And as we were talking, I was like, "Fuck, I could put this on YouTube," which I have never done with any of my podcasts, just because I think I want a lot of people to hear this and hear your story and hear us talk, because I think this could help a lot of people. But I also want to give you the opportunity to say like yes or no. So if you're not comfortable with your face being on YouTube, which is totally valid, I do not want you to feel pressured at all. Say, hey, I'd rather not, and I will not put you on YouTube. It will only go on the podcast where people can hear us. But if you are comfortable with that, I'm also going to do that. But please don't feel pressured in either way.
Okay. No, I don't think I mind it. As long as like I don't have my full name out there. Right?
No.
Like,
Never. And if you want, I could change your name as well. I'd say it's something completely different if you'd like, but if it's 100% up to you.
Yeah, no, I don't mind being out there. I don't mind my face being out there. I just don't. I'm gonna let you deal with all the crazies on the internet and not send that juju my way. But no, that's fine with me.
I think because you'll see the comment section on YouTube, I think you're going to be very happily surprised with how nice people are and all of that. There's always like, it's funny, I could get 1,000 amazing comments, but there's one in there that's just like, hey, you're an idiot. And even though I got 1,000 good ones, the 1,001st is going to make me feel like shit, right? So
Right.
I don't think that's going to happen at all. I know for a fact this is going to help thousands and thousands of people. Like,
No, I
for
think it'd
sure.
be great because it was things like this that you've done in the past that is what helped me the most. So it's nice to be able to pay it back a little bit.
And you're going to be the first person I've ever done a podcast with like this and then published it on YouTube. So that's pretty cool as well.
Hey, I'll wear that badge with honor.
Well, thank you so much. Like, you're amazing. I appreciate you immensely. I hope you know if you ever need anything, you can always reach out. I'm always here to chat. If you ever want to hop on a call with me like this again, email me. Email Kat, and we'll get you on. Like, I've loved speaking with you. You're amazing. Thank you for everything, and don't ever hesitate to reach out. Okay?
Awesome. And thank you for everything. I'm a biggest fan. My husband and I really appreciate what you do and how you put it out there. And we honestly share your stuff all the time. So I really enjoy it. Thank you for all the effort that you put into all of it too. I think it's really, I'm so impressed, not to blow smoke up your ass, but your willingness to help people even when you're not benefiting from it, right? Like, I know you just like to help people. You talk about that, but you're putting out so much incredible information just free. And I think that that's really honorable. I admire you for it. So
That
thank you so
means a lot.
much for everything. And it made a huge difference in our lives.
That makes me so happy. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Give your family my love, and thank you for everything. And I will talk to you soon. Okay?
All right. Have a good evening.
Bye.